in my subconscious, and only came to the surface as I worked on the tale day by day, scene by scene, sentence by sentence. I don't think this story can be neatly fitted into one of those academicians' categories. I think of it as Harry's story, uniquely the tale of an individual man trying to find his place in the world, and succeeding, although he never realizes he has.
Monster Slayer.
This is the way the legend began.
He was called Harry Twelve-Toes because, like all the men in his family, he was born with 6 toes on each foot. The white doctor who worked at the clinic on the reservation said the extra toes should be removed right away, so his parents allowed the whites to cut the toes off, even though his great-uncle, Cloud Eagle, pointed out that Harry's father, and his father's fathers as far back as anyone could remember, had gone through life perfectly well with 12 toes on their feet. His secret tribal name, of course, was something that no white man was ever told. Even in his wildest drunken sprees, Harry never spoke it. The truth is, he was embarrassed by it, for the family had named him Monster Slayer, a heavy burden to lay across the shoulders of a little boy, or even the strong young man he grew up to be. On the day that the white laws said he was old enough to take a job, his great-uncle Cloud Eagle told him to leave the reservation and seek his path in the world beyond. "Why should I leave?" Harry asked his great-uncle. Cloud Eagle closed his sad eyes for a moment, then said to Harry, "Look around you, nephew." Harry looked and saw the tribal lands as he had always seen them: brown desert dotted with mesquite and cactus, steep bluffs worn and furrowed as great-uncle's face, turquoise blue sky and blazing father-sun baking the land. Yet there was no denying that the land was changing. Off in the distance stood the green fields of the new farms, and the tiny dark shapes of the square houses the whites were building, and there were gray rain clouds rising over the mountains. Refugees were pouring into the high desert. The greenhouse warming that gutted the farms of the whites with drought also brought rains that were filling the dry arroyos of the tribal lands. The desert would be gone one day, the white scientists predicted, turned green and bountiful. So the whites were moving into the reservation. "This land has been ours since the time of first man and first woman," great-uncle said. "But now the whites are swarming in. There is no stopping them. Soon there will be no place of our own left to us. Go. Find your way in the world beyond. It is your destiny." Reluctantly, Harry left the reservation and his family. In the noisy, hurried world of the whites, jobs were easy to find, but good jobs were not. With so many cities flooded by the greenhouse warming, they were frantically building new housing, whole new villages and towns. Harry got a job with a construction firm in Colorado where the government was putting up huge tracts of developments for the hordes of refugees from the drowned coastal cities. He started as a lowly laborer, but soon enough worked himself up to a pretty handy worker, a jack of all trades. He drank most of his pay, although he always sent some of it back to his parents. One cold, blustery morning, when Harry's head was thundering so badly from a hangover that even the icy wind felt good to him, his supervisor called him over to her heated hut. "You're going to kill yourself with your drinking, Harry," said the supervisor, not unkindly. Harry said nothing. He simply looked past the supervisor's ear at the calendar tacked to the corkboard. The picture showed San Francisco the way it looked before the floods and the rioting. "You listening to me?" the supervisor asked more sharply. "This morning you nearly ran the backhoe into the excavation pit, for Christ's sake." "I stopped in plenty time," Harry mumbled. The supervisor just shook her head and told Harry to get back to work. Harry knew from the hard expression on the woman's face that his days with this crew were numbered. Sure enough, at the shape-up a few mornings later, the super took Harry aside and said, "Harry, you Indians have a reputation for being good at high steel work." Harry's head was thundering again. He drank as much as any 2 men, but he had enough pride to show up on the job no matter how bad he felt. "Can't slay monsters laying in bed," he would tell himself, forcing